funny minute, Kristen. Good. Life's good. We had our legacy event last night, which is when we dedicate the bricks for the individuals that we've served, and so that's always touching and poignant, and is really why we do what we do. Rick?
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, I was like, we're dividing and conquering.
I know, I didn't want to come in front of everybody and sit right there, so.
So thank you. You're on the camera now, though.
All
Smile,
right.
wave. She was like, dang it.
We had I don't know if she said, we had an event last night, and so we had somebody come beforehand to do some drone footage since we had good weather and we had our pyramid memorial all lit up. And the drone, every time I would open the door to let somebody in, the drone would be right there. And we're like, you're not supposed to
You can't get away from the camera.
No, just follow.
Just got to be camera ready all the time.
Yeah, last night was perfect.
It was so lovely. Oh yeah, 2 days ago would have been a struggle because it is an outdoor memorial. So yeah, the weather was kind to us. Yeah, a lot of people came. I think it was
more than we've had.
The biggest turnout that we've had. That's a great question. Yeah, I think we're doing a better job of having community attendance. It used to be mostly family members, and I don't know if you heard what we do, but we support individuals who are on hospice and don't have resources. So sometimes that looks like not having a family. About 50% of the time, they don't have anyone, but 50% of the time they do. And so I think supplementing, that support and that community and that love and connection by the community is really special. And so to have more community members turning up and coming and volunteering and all of that is really cool to see, and then to have them come back and honor everyone like that was great. So yeah, it was well attended, and that's a really good point. Absolutely. Honestly, I've been doing this event for like 8 years, and I had never really thought of it quite like that. Sometimes I think it's hard for people to see because they know they're passing soon, which I'm sure both can exist, but I know, I'm sure it is touching for them to know that people still come out and light a candle and say their name, That's a really good point, Kristen. I'd always been sensitive, we encourage people to come.
And we had
but
two
I think
residents that did participate. One whose wife was being honored last night.
So we had our first couple this year, so they came together actually, and had a room. So for the first time, we had 105% occupancy. But yeah, he was there, and I think it's as the end of life is, it's a mix of emotions. So I think it's hard sometimes for residents because they also form friendships while they're there, and then it's all at play. But we have chaplains that come and support during the event, and yeah, it's a really touching thing. But yeah, I think you're right. Probably.
I sort of like being tied to something.
Right. And yeah, I've had people, how do I get a brick? What does it cost? And it doesn't cost you anything. A lot of our residents don't end up having a service or a funeral because of finances or a place to be buried with their name on it. It's communal graves a lot of the time. And so for them to know that their name will be somewhere means a lot to them. So, yeah, that's kind of what we've been up to, I guess, in the last 24 hours. It's a heavy topic for a.
saw your orange feather and I was like, maybe that's it. That's supposed to be the professional one. The other issue that I have with that, even though there's another one that has like it's like a like a to L shape one, where it flushes. It's like it comes out like this. So it flushes, but this one just goes straight. So it's like the cord is like hanging this way. So next time, if I do it, I'm not thinking about doing, I will get the one where it goes in and then the wires come out this way. So that way, it's not going in this direction and it's like
They like something, and but yeah, they like school. I mean, as much as you can like school. What was that? So Julia, my daughter, is in volleyball and dance, and then my son, like, I know I'm his mama, so I gotta say that, but
Football's over for you?
yeah, they start in July. We live in Westfield, so he's in like the Westfield League, and they start in July and then they end in September. And they were the undefeated.
until I'm done with the shoot and I'm like,
Yeah, when they're that small. But this year he was a lot on the defensive lineman, which is scary. I'm like, this sport, I'm glad you love it, but like it's stressful. But last year he was like 40.
Dr. Julius, what's the next thing after this?
You on the driveway with chalk, and then you came back in and you never did it again. And one day you were dancing out in the rain and playing in the rain, and you came back in and you never did it again. And one day you were making paper phones and pretending to call your friends, and now you're addicted to technology. And she was like, I don't want to be addicted to technology. And I was like, that's really good, Joy. But at least she's aware. And I was like,
let's see, is anybody
So I hope you had some time to fill in some names. It was certainly a lot of good conversations. If everybody can take a seat so we can get ready for our first round. Our first fireside chat, and each one will be about 15 minutes, and then we'll have the exchange of guests in between. So our first fireside chat is with Akilah Darden, who
Akilah Darden is the president and founder of the Darden Group, LLC, an award-winning construction management and consulting firm based in Indianapolis. With more than $2 billion with a B, $2 billion with a B, in complex projects overseeing nationwide, she has championed record-setting inclusion efforts directing over $480 million in contracts to women and minority-owned businesses. MIRA award-winning educator and co-author of My Mom is a Construction Manager, Akilah is a respected speaker and mentor dedicated to advancing women, people of color, and youth in construction and entrepreneurship. And I just have to add my personal note. She was my person who led the Habitat build. That's how I actually met Akilah. So when I say these are people who are engaged in the community, that is for real. She will be in discussion with Holly Harrington, who serves on the executive leadership team at the Indianapolis Airport Authority, where she leads federal compliance programs and initiatives that enhance operations and foster inclusivity for employees, passengers, and partners. With more than 30 years, she don't look old enough for that, more than 30 years of experience across business development, compliance, HR, IT, manufacturing, and engineering. She previously spent 21 years at Eli Lilly and Company, is a graduate of Howard University, my sister would say go Bisons, with a BS in mechanical engineering. She is nationally recognized in the aviation industry and actively serves on several boards, including the Indiana Civil Rights Commission and the Mid-States MSDC. Dedicated to mentorship and community service, she is president of the Minority Engineering Program of Indianapolis and advises the Indy Ice Academy. Originally from Detroit, she is also a proud member, and my soror, a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and enjoys life with her husband Brian and their 3 children. Please join me in welcoming Akilah and Holly to the stage.
Good morning, everyone. This is going to be a challenge for Akilah and I because we are dear friends. So one of the things I'm trying to do is make sure we stay on time. So I'm looking at Chelsea. It's 9:23. I need you to go 5, 5, and 5 if you can help us stay on track because we could talk forever. Today is a day about power and connection, and it's focused on women business owners, which are essential to the economic development of Indianapolis. So when people ask you, why are you part of NAWBO, you're just coming around like-minded women who are going to help lift you, and you're going to learn. So that is the power of connection and why all of us are here today working together. And our hope is that through Akilah's journey, you get some takeaways to help you either get started in your business, grow your business, or take it to the next level, depending on what size you are. So one of the things we talked about was why, right? Why is Akilah here today? She has many awards, but why Akilah, she asked me a question, is because Akilah cares. She cares about her business, she cares about her children, and she cares about other women being successful in business. So my first question for you is, how did you identify your why, and how has it shaped your business decisions and direction?
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Really quickly, I just want to let you know that I am a solopreneur. We'll have some some contract workers, but I started my business 5 years ago, and I was chosen to help IU Health procure a $4 billion hospital complex. So when I give you some notes, please write them down because they do work. My why was, I'm from the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. As I mentioned, I built $2 billion, but the special part about that is with 15 different industries, to include classified work for DoD and Homeland Security. So when I got here, I was working on 3 projects with Washington Township, and my subcontractors were not meeting the quality and expectations that I felt they could if they just had the necessary tools. So my why was the 2019 City of Indianapolis disparity study came out, and it was such a big gap in construction for small, local, women-owned businesses that I knew I had to do something. So my why is, what's my expertise? What problem can I solve? I knew construction, plans and specs are my jam. I can get people to the finish line. I used to have 30 subcontractors and 400 people on the job site. What I do know is I can get everyone finished on time and on the budget. So my why was, I need to make sure that everyone can compete and win. So write that down. We don't just compete, we're going to win. Okay. My why was, I'm going to build visions and exceed expectations. My degree is in architectural engineering. I'm in construction, so build, and then the vision is other people want to create something, and I'm going to help them build their vision, but I'm also going to know your why and your purpose, and then 2, know your scope of work. And we talked about this when we were prepping. So my why was 2019 City of Indianapolis. And you are the best. And I don't know if you should say that you're the best. Yes, you are. You are the best at what you do. Okay? So learn confidence. And the confidence doesn't come because I'm an extrovert. The confidence comes from preparation. Write that down, preparation. If you hear me speak, if you see me doing a presentation, I prepare. In front of my kids, which are the worst critics, I'm in the mirror. I practice what I want to tell you because I don't take this time lightly. So again, it's not confidence, it's preparation. For this. And it's time to compete, win, grow, and hire local talent. So I found my why because I'm the problem.
Well, just one clarification. I don't have an issue with best. It was the only. So I don't know if you want to speak a little bit about your comments around being the best and why you were confident in being the best, but you would tell people you were the only one that could solve their problem. So the only part was about confidence as we talked, but help others understand why they can position themselves to tell people they are the only one that can solve their problems.
Yeah, so people hire you or hire someone to fill a need, a service, a problem, right? Why are you gonna go in there saying, well, I'm one of? No, I'm the only one that can solve your problem right now today, and here's the reasons why. Write it down, quantify your success, whether it's your success with corporations or your success in your business, write it down. I know 2 billion. I know we're at 500 million in diverse spend right now. I know that we have 170 diverse businesses at 16th and Capitol. Write it off, right? Because if I'm looking to hire you for something, I need to see my ROI. I need to know what you do, what problem are you solving, and how well do you do it. So I am the only one that can solve your problem today with excellence. So, okay, I changed it from only to great.
Oh, only to great. So did you get that? Is everybody in the room comfortable with saying they're the only? That's a business strategy. So I mean, there's opportunities for you guys to work. If you're not, it means that your core focus may be broad. You need to really figure out what you're good at. And when you're good at something, you will have that confidence to say that you are the only. So if you're not there, I think you need to talk to Akilah after this. I always tell people I'm a life coach or a career coach or an entrepreneur coach to help you really figure out, you've got to know what you're good at. And sometimes what you want to do and what you're good at don't align. And you've got to figure out how to connect the dots and make that happen. So we're in speed round. My second question was, how do you ensure that new opportunities align with your vision? And we talked, if you think you've covered it, but I want to make sure I ask the second one is, how do you align your why as you choose opportunities? And if you can incorporate a little bit about communication, that would be helpful.
I don't remember that one. So I will say this, as we sit here as women-owned businesses, is that you have to tell your story. Tell it in a way that people feel compelled to hire you. I know one of the biggest things that we had to do with the hospital project is we had to hire small local businesses. And the reason I was able to bring a list of 250, 300 people is because of conversations. Like, I'm talking to you today, I'm listening. And those that follow up via LinkedIn and give me their capability statement and what they do, when I'm in conversation, I'm on my phone like, here, this is the opportunity. The reason I have these very extraordinary opportunities is because I bring opportunities to people. And it's those that do follow up that actually win. And there was a second part to that.
Well, you got it. It was about communication. So, and specifically, are there mistakes that either you have made or you see other entrepreneurs make, and how do you help avoid them?
Mistakes that are being made are real easy. Not being prepared, not practicing, not knowing your scope of work. Don't try to impress me with, oh, I don't do that because I looked at your facial expression and I actually do this. Come in with what you do. Everybody has confidence. It's called practice. So I play basketball, volleyball, softball. I practice, right? You don't just get and be the best. You practice. So practice your scope of work. Practice your expertise. Look at the website of people you're selling to. What is it, the problem that they're solving? So my vision always aligns with my opportunity, because if I take an opportunity, I need to know that I can help others, because it's not just about me, right? It's about getting everyone to the table. My mom is an English teacher, so she made sure that I had that nonverbal and verbal communication. So when I was a project engineer, I knew I had the grammar, right? So I would edit scripts before mayors, and I would edit scripts for 4-star generals because they could not type. But anyway, that's how I got to the table of leadership, is because of my nonverbal and verbal skills. So if you have that, let me tell you, you have mastered at least the art of selling. It's just the science that you need, and that comes from preparation and confidence. But let me tell you, you'll get your best opportunity if you help 5 people get their opportunity. And really quickly, I need you to summarize your business in 5 words. And if people are interested in leaning in, give them 30 seconds and a minute. So mine is building visions and exceeding expectations. So you really don't know what I do, you have to learn more. And when you lean in, then I help you. Communication, your why, storytelling, practice. Practice, lose confidence. Okay? And we're gonna compete and we're gonna win with our scope of work first, because we know it, right? Okay.
You're doing good. We got a little under 5. How can women business owners, and you started touching on this, cultivate unity and mutual support? We're here talking about the power of connection to fuel collective success. The second part of that is if there's any way to talk about mentorship and how that plays in cultivating unity and collective success, specifically for women.
Oh, I'm a serial mentor. When I started construction, as you can tell, there was no one that looked like me, female, minority, all the things. I knew I had to change that. So I was gonna make sure that I was gonna feel comfortable in rooms. That meant that I need to get more people that look like me in rooms. But you said opportunity. I had to get that out first. What was the last part? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm like excited. I want to make sure I get these points across.
Collective success. success. So the theme is about women in unity. So
Oh,
mentorship.
mentoring. So mentoring is my jam, and another reason why I decided to be an entrepreneur is because I told my mentees that they were strong enough to be entrepreneurs. They looked at me and they said, "What about you?" And I was like, "Ooh." So I chose entrepreneurship. But let me tell you about IU Hub. We had to procure hospital project. We had $4 billion to procure. We have 5 general contractors. They had to hire small local businesses. So what I did was I had 5 women-owned businesses that worked with the general contractors to make sure they have small and local. You know why? Because I knew 5 women business owners that could drive the intentionality and be exceptional. So we strategized with these 5 women, and they went and they held down the meetings for community engagement and supplier engagement, and we were able to be successful in $500 million, right? Because we had 5 women business owners. But that's because I knew them, I was intentional about what I wanted to do, and I made sure that they were at the table leading so that they could get opportunities. And when you get opportunities for other people, they're like, "I loved how you gave me this opportunity. There's another project over here and over here." And what's happening is those businesses are bringing other opportunities to the businesses that brought them opportunities. Y'all rocking with that? So your intentionality is to find leadership in women-owned businesses, to lead the charge, and then they can help your opportunity be successful, and they also are successful with the opportunity.
I think we got 2 minutes. So one of the questions and I think you covered it, was to provide actionable steps. Did everybody hear Akilah say prepare? Anybody hear anything else she told you to do? Scope of work. She said know your why. Say yours again. Know your why. So prepare, tell your story, and mentoring is very important, and that's why
Compete and win.
Compete and win. So that's why we're here today. So in your last closing, what is one piece of advice you would give to a woman ready to scale her business but unsure where to start? So it could be the beginning, it could be in the middle, it could be a large business, but is there one piece of advice you could provide for women?
You are enough. You are enough, and go back to why you think you should be a business owner. And that right there will tell you your expertise. Now go Google, ChatGPT, whatever, a business that needs your services, and find a problem for you to solve, and go reach out to them. LinkedIn is 1 or 2 degrees of separation. Just go for it. And when you interview and you pitch and you don't win, you did, because you're going to get a debrief to find out why you did not win. And the next one, you're going to actually cover those things. But make sure that you listen, hear the problem, and then dive in with your quantitative data of why you are the only and the best, and win that opportunity.
Can we thank Holly? And I think Akilah, didn't you put some information on the table out there?
Yes, I have a tower crane. You can play with it too, but please take my information and link into me. That's the best way to connect with me.
Let's thank them again. We could have had just one of these people and spent like an hour. We want to wet your whistle and make you do some stuff. So, like you heard some great things, do some great things, right? With them. So our next, I need to check, was there any raffle tickets before okay, and then I need to give some credit and acknowledgement for one of the things we're trying to do is make sure if you can't be in this space, or if you need this space again, that we have that. So we have Victoria Okamaya, who, if you have not seen Boss Ladies Magazine, ooh, you missing it. And she is doing YouTube Live for this event. And then also, where's Casey? I know Casey was here. Stand up, Casey. I can't see you back there. I left my glass up there. So Casey Harrison also has been media support for us. When I was so intrigued or excited when Akilah mentioned storytelling, because that's what Casey does, right? And she is amazing at storytelling, and also Victoria and her studio and all the ways you can talk about yourself. So please make sure if you didn't get them on your list, that you have some time, spend some time, or they're both on LinkedIn. You can find Facebook. They're in all that stuff, especially Casey, who does it everywhere. So our next group, thank you to Akilah and Holly. Our next duo starts with Fahad Beg, who is the Senior Manager at the City of Indianapolis Office of Minority and Women Business Development, where he leads supplier diversity programs and policies that advance economic inclusion. He oversees certification, compliance, and utilization initiatives supporting minority, women, veteran, disabled, and small business enterprises. He holds a BS and MBA from Indiana University, Indianapolis. I don't even know what we call that anymore, right? Do we still say that? And a master's in compliance administration from Morgan State University. He will be in conversation with Leslie Crane, who is a member of the board of NAWBO-Indianapolis. She is the founder of Inclusive Strategies LLC and co-founder and CEO of Diversified LLC. Before launching her own business, she was appointed by Governor Eric Holcomb to serve as commissioner of the Indiana Department of Administration, leading a 200-person agency that managed statewide procurement, public works, and supplier diversity initiatives. Her time in that role deepened her passion for economic inclusion and equitable access for diverse businesses. Leslie continues that work today through her companies and community service, serving on several boards, including, as I said, NAWBO-Indianapolis, Mental Health America of Indiana, and the Sycamore School Board of Trustees. She is committed to creating meaningful connections between business, government, and community to drive inclusive growth. Please welcome to the stage Fahad Beg and Leslie Crane. I have to say thank you, Leanne, that the words were big because I left my glasses on the table.
Thank you all for having us this morning, and I want to tell you that Fahad and I are the best and only people here to talk to you about supplier diversity and doing business with the city. So, I didn't write it down, but I was listening. So we're excited to talk to you today about how your business can do better and more business with the city. So Fahad, we're going to start, and I'm embarrassed to say that I have reverse old lady eyes, so I don't need these glasses to see this paper, but to see your faces, so I have to take them off, so otherwise I can't. So, can you talk a little bit about how OMWBD, and maybe you can say what that acronym is because it's a mouthful, is supporting diverse and women-owned businesses in general?
Thank you for having me. The Office of Minority and Women-Owned Business stands for OMWBD. I think that was the first question. What are some of our initiatives for WBE firms or women-owned businesses in Indiana? One of the first initiatives that we have is we are one of the oldest institutions for supplier diversity in Indiana. Being an office that was established back in 1986. That's probably when they had the idea, though. The goals for women-owned business, that would be one of our first initiatives. We enforce WBE goals across all procurement opportunities for city, county, and municipal agencies, and those are for public works, goods and service, as well as professional service, and any incentive projects that the city, county has. Our other initiatives that we have for women-owned businesses would be contract monitoring, where once a contract is awarded, we would assist the WBE firm throughout the procurement process, making sure that what they were committed is what they're being paid. Their commercial useful function is being utilized. They're being paid on a prompt payment method. We also make sure that the inclusion of WBE firms are on city, county, and municipal contracts by enforcing what we call good faith effort. That is when a prime contractor bids on any opportunity with one of our agencies, we make sure that the prime contractor has included certified WBE firms from our directory into the procurement process, making sure that they had an equitable opportunity to participate in contracts. That still means you have to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. We also, in the last disparity study, we had identified that women-owned businesses sometime were being utilized on contracts, but the women-owned businesses was never aware that their credit or certification was being used. So what we implemented is an LOI process, a letter of intent, where a prime contractor, when they're taking credit for a WBE, they have to provide what we call a communication between the prime and the sub as part of their bidding documents. And if that LOI is not provided, we will not process that particular bid. The LOI basically is a tool that includes the WBE certification letter, the contract that the WBE or the bid that the WBE is participating in, what commercially useful function they're going to be performing, and then the dollar value, as well as signatures from both parties. Throughout the year, we'll host numerous educational events, certification workshops that OMWBD does ourselves, as well as any of our partner organizations throughout the year. Another service that we do for WBEs is we include them as part of our disparity study. So every 5 years, the city performs a disparity study where we include women-owned businesses and understanding what the capacity is and what the relevant availability of WBE businesses are in our geographical area.
Thank you for that. So I, like many women-owned businesses in the room, am certified with your office. What recommendations or advice would you have for someone like me who wants to grow my business with the city?
What I'm going to answer, I'm going to backtrack on that.
Okay.
So let's say if you're not certified.
Answer whatever question you want to.
Okay. So one, if you're not certified, I would recommend you look for the certification program. One is free for the city of Indianapolis. Majority of the government certifications are free. It's a great marketing tool. See if you qualify. There might be a situation where you might not qualify because this is a narrow tailored program for a select group. It's not a model that fits all businesses. So if you fit the WBE category, please seek certification because it's free. There's not many things you can get for free. And it's a great marketing tool. But if you are a certified firm already with OMWBD or you possibly with NDOT or IDOA, we do offer free memorandum information exchange between those agencies so you can easily get certified filling out our application through those channels. Once you are certified, you get placed on our directory of firms. The directory is publicly available. That's the same directory that prime contractors use when they're bidding on opportunities with us. So it's relevant that you keep that information up to date. Many of the times we see out of the 1,200 firms that we currently have, many of them have bad email addresses, bad telephone numbers, bad fax numbers, website doesn't work, and many of those are missed opportunities. Sometimes people come and register with the purchasing division. They don't fully register with their scopes of services. So make sure that your scopes of services are up to date when you're registering as a vendor with the city as well as seeking certification. That probably is a very crucial step because if you're certified or if you're doing something else but you're certified or your directory is having you listed for something else, you're gonna have missed opportunities, and certification is not gonna be driving you for your opportunities. Being the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, you are still a business at the end of the day, regardless of certification. In order to win a contract, you still have to compete. It's not a set aside. So being the lowest responsive or responsible bidder, looking at your cost, looking at what your competitors doing. One of the other things I would recommend is if there is not an opportunity for you right now with the city of Indianapolis, look for historical opportunities that existed. Try to look at what agencies previously awarded those contracts. Look when those contracts are coming up for renewal, and then target yourself with those particular buyers in the purchasing division and the buyers in those agencies.
that leads me into a question that's going to surprise you because it wasn't on the list that I shared with you, but I think you can handle it. If you are a certified or even not a certified business, and we're trying to do what you just suggested, which is talk to buyers, looking at historical contracts, that kind of thing, how do you network with those folks? Like, what is the way you go about doing that? And what are other networking opportunities that you, OMWBD, provide for women and WBEs and other diverse suppliers?
One of the first ones would be signing up to receive the e-blast notifications from our office. You do not have to be a certified firm to receive information. You can email OMWBD and say, we would like to be listed as part of the e-blast notification, where you're receiving the solicitations, the bidding opportunities, the event opportunities, visiting our website. We'll list all the outreach events that we have. I know for this month, we have a vendor open house with not OMWBD, but with our purchasing division, where individuals, general public, can walk in and meet the buyers in the Office of Finance and Management, as well as some of the large contractors that the city has. So it's like a reverse open house inside the city county building, where we're opening up the government doors, where you're able to walk in and meet the Office of Administration, Office of Finance and Management. Networking events like these would be a great tool. Our partner agencies, the business chambers, all of those would be great networking tools. Even events held by our municipal corporation, many of them do their own independent outreach events, and those would be great as well.
Okay, I've been given the 2-minute sign, so I'm going to ask the future of supplier diversity. I think we're all a little uncertain about right now, but if you had a piece of advice to give to the women business owners here this morning about what role they could take in shaping the future that's kind of coming at us, what piece of advice or pieces of advice would you give to them?
I did bring some facts. I'm going to share those at the end. WBE business is one of the biggest segment in the Indian industry for the city of Indianapolis. We have looked at the data in the last 5 years. Our directory has substantially grown for WBE firms. We were at a directory of roughly around 600-700 firms. Now we're nearly 1,300 vendors for the city of Indianapolis. WBE firms are one of the fastest growing for this particular area. Supplier diversity, yes, it is a revolving topic right now. And it's been that way in the early stages of 2024. We did have some legislative challenges at the beginning of the particular year, but the city held its ground. We are a program that is lawful based on the city of Richmond and J.A. Croson Supreme Court decision. So based on that, the city performs its own disparity study and does its own narrow tailored program. That's why you see the city's program might slightly be different from others, is because of that Supreme Court decision and the findings of our disparity study. But looking at the last 5 years, because I can't really predict the future 5 years, I can say that we are expected to release our disparity study in the first quarter of next year. There might be some changes. Some of the changes that we do see in the preliminary work is a geographical implementation. There could be a size implementation to the program as well. But do I see women-owned businesses still being part of supplier diversity? Yes. Some of the stats, I had to write those down. For the city of Indianapolis, looking back the last 5 years, giving you a glance of where and what impact the program has made from 2020 to 2024, this is including the pandemic. The city, county, and municipal agencies had a competitive spend of roughly $3.8 billion. Out of that, $800 million went to local XBE firms. That's a 21% return on investment for Indiana XBE firms. Women-owned businesses make up one of the biggest segments in that category. And that just included city, county, municipal agencies. The city has what we call a P3 or incentive division as well. In those particular sections, we have, in that same time frame of 2020 to 2025, $5.1 billion in competitive spend. That means that's the majority of your downtown development and Marion County development through city incentives. $5 billion. Out of that $5 billion, $1.1 billion went to XPE firms, straight Indiana firms, with a return on investment of 24%. So that is a substantial market for WBE firms in Indiana. So I feel like the program is going to continue because you are one of the biggest segments in the industry. Women-owned businesses drive employment. It is one of the largest growth. It ends up reducing crime. It creates a substantial job growth and stability in the marketplace, along as including reinvestment of their profits back in Indiana, as we've seen 24% return.
Thank you. Let's give another hand to Leslie and Fahad. Thank you so much for taking your time. So we're gonna just give everybody a raffle ticket and raffle off the goodies at the end, since we won't have to get up and fill out your sheet time, but we still want to give away some goodies, right? As I was listening, because the conversation of DEI and where all that stuff is, a part of the reason that we're doing this today is a saying that I picked up at one of our CollabX meetings. Don't trip over something that's behind you. Don't trip over something that's behind you, right? Let's be forward thinking. That's why we want you to make connections and build resources. Don't trip over something that's behind you, right? So our next duo, come on up, is Brian Schutt and Sonny Williams. Brian is the director of the Indiana Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, which was newly created in 2025 to help Main Street entrepreneurs start, grow, and scale their businesses to grow the state's economy and support Hoosier workers. Previously, Brian founded Refinery 46. I had some meetings there. An Indianapolis-based co-working space and HomeSense Heating and Cooling. He is a board member of the OR Fellowship and was previously a Civic Renewal Fellow with the American Enterprise Institute. Brian holds a BS in Management from Purdue's now Mitch Daniels, it was Crenner when my son went there, School of Business. Sonny Lou Williams is the founder of TechServe, a consulting and project management firm specializing in public health, public safety, and higher education. With more than 20 years of experience, I need to see where all these people are getting this face cream because they don't look like he's 35 and he's 20 years and all of that. But more than 20 years of experience in business management, venture development, and program design. Sonny focuses on building strategic partnerships, advancing technology integration, and driving measurable community outcomes. A graduate of Purdue University and Indiana University's Kelley School of Business, Sonny is deeply committed to improving public health and education through workforce development, innovation, and equal access to opportunity. Please help me welcome Brian and Sonny to the stage.
If we just speak without the microphone, can you all hear us in the back? Yeah. Doing okay? Oh, you need a video pickup? Sorry. Okay, then we'll. Okay. All right. Well, Brian, this morning we heard some very tactical, individualized tips for our women business owners in the audience, and then we rounded it out with some phenomenal stats from the city of Indianapolis. Let's take it broader in strategy. National Association of Women Business Owners in India is part, of course, a national organization, and there's a lot going on across the country today. in just new development efforts and focuses on business, private sector, and support. So when we look at the state of Indiana and its key focuses in the areas of both regional development and also skilling up within our workforce, talk to us a little bit about what your office is focused on and how we tie that into our business owners on the women's founding and women's ownership side.
Well, pleasure to be here. Yeah, so there are 4 key points in the broader economic development strategy that Indiana is focused on now. It's staying within the 4 corners of Indiana, Main Street businesses, upskilling, and that tries to raise wages. So that's been sort of the key focus that we've been provided in the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Main Street business is the particular one that I've been focused on. So there's around 600,000 businesses, small and medium-sized businesses in Indiana. So as we've been setting the foundation for this office, and I've been an office of one for the majority of the time since I took the role in July, the numbers of how to support with an office of one, now 2, we doubled in October, to 600,000 businesses. I mean, just practically and tactically, that doesn't necessarily scale. So when we come up with ideas to support, I think where we've been thinking of is how do we find great distributors that can serve the businesses on the ground? And in thinking of ourselves as a support organization for support organizations, and NAWBO is a great example of that. And so just with my experience, the aforementioned experience at Refinery 46, I think it's relevant when we think about things like this. It's like businesses' growth comes down to humans making choices to change. So what really we have to reflect on is like, how do we actually, what's sort of like a theory of change for small businesses? Well, really almost all change comes in the context of a meaningful relationship where you have some degree of mutuality, connection, and accountability. And that's what we saw at Refinery 46. And that's what, when I think about support organizations and things like NAWBO, it's the places where we can actually sort of come in a consistent way, because growth happens with continuity. We want sort of the wake up and we're like the vision of what we want to achieve, but sort of revolutionary change typically is short-lived. So it's sort of that atomic habits, 1% better. That usually happens when you're embedded in an organization and you can foster a spirit of vulnerability. And what we talked about at Refinery 46, and again, not to sort of go too deep on that, but I think it's relevant again, we try to foster an environment of collaboration where we were humble so that we could have a place where we didn't have to fake it till we made it. We know in the marketplace it's not always best to like lead with the things that you're terrible at, and we're all terrible at something. So like I could do accounting. Gratefully I had a business partner that was good at accounting. I was not necessarily the best, especially with the heating and cooling company. I still can't fix anything after having this business for 16 years. So we have to lean on those with other strengths, but if all we're doing is faking it till we make it, we're never gonna invite anybody else's strengths into our areas of weakness. So I think like creating environments where we can be vulnerable, where we can find those people that we connect with that have strengths that we don't have. So again, one of the questions I know is gonna be like, what's something practical you can take away from today? I've been in rooms like this for decades now, and so I know the human nature, which is like, go find the people you know, have comfortable conversations, and walk away, you know, with an experience, but unchanged. I want to challenge the group today to like find someone you don't know, admit something you're not very good at in your business, and see what they have to speak into that place. Because that's how we get growth in life. It's through those opportunities where we have sort of continuity of relationship and we can be vulnerable.
That's fantastic, Brian. So as we look at those specific tips, as leaders, entrepreneurs, executives in the room, we are very grateful that you have the experience and are leading through that expertise of not only having founded your own business, but really looking at the ecosystem build out, what needs to occur when we're looking at statewide mobilization in support of entrepreneurship innovation. Now the kicker is with 2 people and this incredible groundswell of what this looks like for our main streets and what this looks like for our essential workforce, tie in some specific areas that are women business owners that may be looking at relaunching or maybe looking at potentially expanding or simply connecting into statewide strategies, some perhaps just advice that you would give to them as they look into this next year?
Yeah, I think, again, this is a great time to be a women business owner just broadly. Again, that might be just optimism on my part, but the stats really support. What's that?
We agree with you.
Love it. So like, if you look at the stats, where innovation comes from, and I'll get to the specific question, but this is like cause for, I think, momentum in a room like this, is that almost 60% of folks in college right now are women. And we know, like, broadly speaking, it's not always just through college, but I think there's like the momentum shift there in terms of like where growth and innovation is gonna come from is clearly gonna be downstream of a lot of the folks that are going through college right now. And that shift has been decades long. So in particular, so what are things that you could connect in to be plugged into state strategy? We have small business development centers throughout the state. That is increasingly getting plugged into my office. That existed prior to the Office of Entrepreneurship and Innovation, but I've been really impressed by a lot of the groups across the state. So I would say, like, especially if you're early on, if you're at the relaunch phase, there are resources available. Those are free resources available, and those can be some of those folks that you can walk alongside, share where you feel like you're maybe not as strong. So I would encourage anyone in this room to engage those. In the growth phase, we've started, the state has started Main Street Accelerator programs through G-Beta, and we're gonna expand that this year. So that's an opportunity to plug in more deeply into a particular program that really is really trying to expedite growth through an accelerator program. On top of that, my office, this is getting toward the latter phases. I would say the growth phase, if we know kind of the S curve of business, gets into that exit phase. That's going to be a big focus of my office, this idea of entrepreneurship through acquisition. And there are going to be, I think, thousands of opportunities over the next decade as aging business owners that have created businesses of value start to age out of their business. So we're really trying to lean in and support more succession planning and exit planning among those aging business owners, because that's the starting point to be a strategic seller. Too often the Main Street businesses, they've had their business as a career and they don't necessarily realize the value they've created and what could be an opportunity for someone else. And so sort of details to be determined, but what we know is that the SBA through their 7A program has an opportunity to purchase existing businesses. And I think that concept of entrepreneurship through acquisition is a great opportunity if you've not yet sort of started your own business. You're not necessarily sure what you'd want to do, or you don't necessarily feel like a startup person. That's that way, especially if you're a great operator, to sort of get that business ownership opportunity through acquisition.
I think that's a beautiful tie-in to all of the other speakers this morning about just really assessing your individual strengths, determining what you're good at, and then leveraging partnership and other collaborators to expand and grow the business. I love this definition of entrepreneurship by acquisition because it really accounts for some significant net new wealth growth without having the pains of founding, right? As we look at this infrastructure for research analysis of acquisition, as we look at some of the industries that are truly aging into, do we close the business or do we have opportunities to find additional leaders to develop? Talk to us a little bit about what this impact has in the essential trades, which are traditionally not as significantly women-led or women-owned, and the opportunities there.
Yeah, I think, I think the opportunity is cross-sector. There are aging business owners in every sector. I think Indiana, from a macro standpoint, has a big challenge and opportunity, kind of the two sides of the coin, and that we're a very manufacturing dense state, in fact the most in the nation, I'm pretty sure, in terms of jobs. The challenge side with that is that manufacturing is something that is easy to, these are sort of bigger, more private equity driven acquisitions, but they're easier to pick up and move away. So that puts our state at risk of jobs leaving the state, and so that's one of the focus areas. But zooming in on sort of trades in particular, when we had, so I sold the majority earlier this year, so I've had my own sort of entrepreneurship through acquisition experience, but the inverse side of that. When we had the business for 16 years, one of the things that we realized pretty quickly was that a large majority of our conversation was with women who controlled the household budget. And so I was raised by a single mom from when my parents got divorced in 1989. So I felt like I kind of had like an unlock of kind of being able to speak the language a little bit, because I always sort of imagined like, how would I want someone to come into my mom's home and speak to them, knowing that like, and again, as I said, I can't fix this stuff, very technical trade. But I think that there's that, so in terms of opportunity for women to step into a sort of historically male-dominated industry, it's sort of counterintuitive. Where you can differentiate, you usually have opportunity that may not be as obvious. So sometimes it's more difficult. Sometimes there's an internal challenge to build rapport. But I've seen women business owners have massive success in trades as a result of just intuitively doing things different and having that sort of implied operational and then communication differentiation, because it's, again, you can speak to the audience that controls the purse strings at home, just again, more sort of intuitively than I think a lot of the male business owners can. So again, big opportunity there, but I would say it's cross-sector and something that I would encourage y'all to look into. Again, our hope is that in short order, we're gonna have some resources to pull from so that it's not just, hey, go to the internet, but there are sites like BizBuySell, smb.co. These are sort of marketplace sites that allow you to research available acquisition opportunities, and there's a lot of those, but we're doing our best to sort of find inventory and then eventually concentrate those resources so you can go to our webpage to be created, so that those resources are all easily available.
Thank you so much for sharing that wonderful story, and I think it's really indicative of when we go into marketing for our businesses, ensuring that we understand the why and then translating that to our customers. I would be remiss if I did not mention mentoring here in the NAWBO community. So tell us a little bit about just your lens on mentoring, some of the great mentors you've had, and what you would encourage this group this morning as far as paying it forward in mentorship.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. Again, it goes back to that broader concept about how do we change. My life has been almost completely driven by change driven through relationships. And then those relationships opening up doors, either doors of thinking or doors of opportunity. And so I think that's one of like the beautiful things about sort of America broadly, is that not always the case, but like oftentimes we've had this sort of philanthropic predisposition where like, again, hopefully we can continue to encourage that, and we kind of the sociological, challenges at times, but it's like, you look back at like Rockefeller and Carnegie earned all their money and then had the competition of how can we give it away before we die. Big, we're not gonna all be multi-billionaires. Nevertheless, like, I do think there's this sort of, it's like in the ethos of our culture that it's about giving back, that we all kind of in a land of opportunity, once we've had ours, we need to sort of share it with the next generation. And so personally, I didn't know about entrepreneurship until after college. I was, my mom was a nurse, and so I had a creative household, but not an entrepreneurial household. And so I got connected with a fraternity alumni, and I lived and worked in Mexico for a couple of years. And I called it my Masters of Entrepreneurship, because he would just throw me at problems and give me no instructions, which is a great training ground for entrepreneurship, because that's, as I'm sure many of you in this room experience daily, you kind of, the classic like Mike Tyson line, like everybody has a strategy until they get punched in the mouth. Like that is like the daily walk of the entrepreneur. It's like, well, I had a plan and then that email came in. I had a plan and then I woke up at 3 a.m. and didn't get back to sleep. And now like, I really can't function. I've had those days where it's like, I can sustain a thought for 30 seconds, so let's just like be really quick about the question. And so I don't know how I got here on mentorship. I had one of those 4 a.m. nights, and so the ADD is like strong right now. So like, if you've had success, be a mentor. If you are yearning for success, like again, that's that like make yourself uncomfortable. You might not get a yes, and again, that's certainly part of the entrepreneurial journey. Is like get used to no's. Don't let that slow you down. Again, I'm a big believer that like there is in the entrepreneurial journey, formation comes with friction. If everything was easy, we wouldn't learn the important lessons to make our businesses sustainable. Does that make sense? Like, helping is great, but there is a point of diminishing returns where helping hurts. And so, I know personally, and so many friends, you just learn more of what the market needs through the necessary and good friction. And so we build durability as we go through the no's, and those might be customers or mentors or internal folks that you do all the right things and you hire them and it blows up in your face. All those things are feedback loops for growth. So again, that's not necessarily the most encouraging thing, but hopefully you take away that like that's everyone, and that's going back to where I started, like that's what we learn when we're vulnerable, that it's like, hey, we're walking alongside each other here. Nobody's got it all together. It's the classic, like everybody's faking a little, so let's just like, shed the pretense and all just be honest about we're all trying to figure it out in real time here. So, and we'll build durability as we just know that we push forward in the midst of the no's. So hopefully we can create an environment in this room where if you ask someone to be a mentor, they'll say yes, but just they're out there and that's maybe an idea for the office to try to help even facilitate that, because I think it's essential.
Brian, thank you so much. Connect with Brian, please. Link in with him.
I'm not sharing Sunny, she's my mentor. She's the only mentor. Thank you for being here. Let's give another hand to Brian and Sunny. So I said at the beginning I'm an intentional person. So the last person on the program is the last person on the program on purpose, because it is SCORE, Brandon, Roger. If you'll come on up, Brandon, and I'll do your bio. Because SCORE is one of our affinity partners that can help you with all these resources people have talked about. So Brandon Rogers serves as Vice Chair of SCORE Central Indiana and leads its community outreach partnerships, mentoring more than 400 entrepreneurs and small business owners. A retired healthcare and nonprofit executive, his career includes leadership roles with the advisory board companies, Community Health Network, and the American Heart Association, holding both an MBA and a master's in social work. Brandon has dedicated decades to strengthening nonprofits, advancing education, and supporting community growth across Central Indiana. He is also a graduate of the Diversity Academy and has lectured nationally on strategic planning, community-based healthcare, nonprofit development, and learning. And then I will be interviewing him. Come on up, give Brandon a hand while he's coming. So my company is Whatever It Takes Consulting, and I've been doing that since 2007. Organizational development, leadership training, strategic planning. I'm certified in cultural intelligence and help organizations to build the best possible culture for their environment, honoring what is everyone's value set, right? My undergrad is University of Illinois, my master's is from Butler, and my doctorate is from Indiana Wesleyan, with a focus on the importance of the culture of the leader and how it shapes the culture of the organization. So I'm looking forward to this conversation with Brandon Rogers. So I'm just gonna start by saying two things. I started my business as an educator with no business background. Zero, nada, none, the empty set, knew nothing. And one of my mentors, Trissetta Briggs, suggested SCORE, because they have mentors and all kinds of workshops. So the first two things I did was sit down with a mentor, because I had no idea what to do about a business plan, what to charge as a consultant. I had none of that. And the mentors asked me questions. They're not gonna give you the here's what you should do. They're gonna challenge you to think about what works, but you gotta know, as Akilah said, you have to know something about your why. But it helped me to get started. The second thing is, even though my undergraduate degree is in mathematics, and I taught mathematics to young people at middle school and high school, there is a difference in math in school and accounting for a business. And so the second thing I did was I took the QuickBooks class, which I think it cost me $25. But they sat down with me with my computer, with all of my resources, and helped me understand how to financially organize my business, right? And I continue to recommend SCORE and the services they offer when I talk with women business owners, wherever they are in the spectrum, because it's not just for new business owners, but also if you have the potential to mentor, that's a really important need that SCORE has. So I know you've been listening to all the great things that people said. How do we build that confidence through being prepared? You know, what services would you suggest, or what do you want everybody to know about SCORE, and how to begin this, get some of these resources?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, and if you want to come work for us, that would be great. I think when we look at the role of mentoring, we know that, and I want to make sure I get it right, if you work with a mentor, you double your chance of being in business 5 years from today. If you work with a SCORE mentor, our data indicates that you have a 94% chance of being in operation 5 years from today. It goes down to around 40% without. The one thing I think I would tell everybody is, I started the same way as you did. I'm by training a psychotherapist. And then all of a sudden, I am Vice President of the Community Health Network in planning and strategy, and the finance department wouldn't talk to me because I didn't have an MBA. So I really quick got rid of those. I think the main thing is that skills can be learned, innate understanding can't. If you can work with somebody who can help show you or push you into certain skills, then take advantage of it. It's the most important thing that you can possibly do.
So talk a little bit about, one of the things I love about SCORE is many of the things are free. Most of the things actually are free. And especially when you're starting your business, but any place along the path, the cost and how you plan for the cost is really important. So what are some workshops or trainings or things that are either coming up or you usually do that you think would benefit people in the room?
First of all, let me emphasize one thing. SCORE has been around for 60 years. We were the 6th chapter here in Indianapolis to be accredited. We, in Indianapolis, throughout central Indiana, we have 70 certified mentors, which means that you've gone through about 15 hours of training before you're allowed to become a mentor. We're part of a group of about 10,000 volunteers that do this. So anybody that you talk to within SCORE is going to be a volunteer. When we look at what we do, our 70 volunteers come from a range of industries and companies and businesses. I deal a lot with healthcare, but I've also mentored a woman in Lafayette who started a designer lampshade business. So what we try to do is we want to foster vibrant small business communities with a focus on marginalized and underrepresented communities through mentoring and education. I didn't bring any cards or paper, so you don't have to worry about throwing it away, but if you just write this down, SCORE, SCORE.org. If you go to SCORE.org, you can access everything we have. We are a resource partner with the SBA, at least for now. The government is changing. We do try to make sure everything we do is at no cost. So if you sign up with a mentor, there is not a beginning or an end. Right now I'm running about 62 clients. Most of my clients I have been seeing on a monthly basis now for 2 years. So if you have a one-off question or something more in depth, a mentor can help you. We try very hard using AI technology to match people in terms of, if it's important to you, in terms of either gender, language, experience, industry background, etc. Or you can take the luck of the draw. It really doesn't matter. And then our mentoring typically right now is virtual, so I thank you for letting me come here today because I had to actually put on clothes and socks. I haven't had socks on for a while, so I appreciate that. But we do a lot of virtual mentoring, a lot of one-on-one mentoring. We also offer education. We, in the past, have done workshops face-to-face. We are now moving this year into a completely webinar format. Our webinars, unless they're sponsored, will run about $10. Now, they have been free in the past. Our funding has been changed. So, and I'm sure all of you can understand that. When we look at next year's programs, in terms of education, we offer simple steps, as you talked about. We offer basic business planning. We also offer courses and webinars in podcasting as a marketing strategy. What do you do if you're in business for a year and you realize now you need to really look at digital marketing? We have experts in that. We are doing a number of courses right now in AI. AI as basic, AI for more advanced businesses. We have developed all of our programming into series, either for dreamers, people that are just hoping to get in business, then another track for 0 to 2 years in business, and then a third track for 3 or more years in business. So that we can really make sure that we have presenters that can understand where you're at in your journey and then support that. And then in addition to that, we also have resources. So again, if you go to score.org, there are templates, there are online classes, there are modules, there are taped webinars, just about anything you can think of, there's something there. And I would encourage you, again, score.org.
So now you see why I asked Brian to be last, because all of these things he sort of ties together what's there, right? I think when you think about the division of those things, I love the notion of dreamer, because oftentimes people get started, for many, many women, starting a business is about a passion, right? I really love to, whatever that thing is, right? But I don't have all those other pieces, and so to be able to start from the dream before you make a bad investment or before you get too discouraged, because being an entrepreneur is hard, right? It's just hard. To have something for the dreamers, I think, is great. But I think also, and we've spoken about mentors, and Akilah's You Are Enough, right? When I coach women, I always say you need a mentor, you need an advocate, and you need an ally. And everybody in this room can be all of those things to somebody else. You are indeed enough. And you may be in the first year of your business, but you may have skills that someone who's been in business for a long time can benefit from, right? So as Brandon was saying, he's got volunteers. SCORE is about volunteers. So if you can volunteer to help someone else, right? Don't let where you are in your business keep you from sharing what is your skill, because you are indeed enough. And so what would you say to, how would you help people think about being a SCORE mentor?
Do you have something that you can share? The one thing that we always say is mentoring is not coaching and it's not consulting. It truly is about building a relationship. When I think about the clients and the mentees that I work with, there's two statements that always come out. One is, it's really nice to talk to somebody who just understands what I'm doing and where I am. You don't judge me, you don't tell me what to do. It's somebody that can at least guide me. The second statement we always hear is, being an entrepreneur is the loveliest thing in the world. Just having someone to talk to is really important. If you're thinking about mentoring, we do make it hard to be a mentor. Trust me, we make it hard. We have to go through an interview process. There are online modules you have to go through. You have to work with an established mentor to co-mentor a minimum of 3 times. And then we oversee what you do and your quality outcomes. And if you're meeting standards. If you don't, we give you a lovely certificate. Thank you very much. You can go on your way. But if you are interested in being a mentor, or a subject matter expert, or someone that would be interested in doing one of our presentations, just again, you can go online. You can. Leanne has all of our contact information. We can do that. I will be very honest with you. Most of our people are retired. A lot of them now aren't. We have a desperate need for individuals of color and women. This is a plea that I will make to all of you. Sometimes people want to talk to somebody that either looks, sounds, or thinks like themselves. Not everybody does. We like to think that, or I like to think, it really doesn't matter. I'm looking at you, and I'm working with you. But if it is something that you're interested in, we desperately need women in leadership that can come in and mentor people. We have a need. Last year we had 5,038 touches in Central Indiana. I personally did 186 hours of mentoring during the course of the year. Altogether, we have over 1,000 active mentees just within Central Indiana. So we ask of our volunteers a lot. If you want to be a volunteer, we would love to have you. If you just wanted to be interested and help educate, we would love to have you.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I think because SCORE is an affinity partner with NAWBO-Indianapolis, we try to put out all the information, but you can also check out the score.org, great, and sign up for the newsletter, the email, because every month you get the whole list of all of the things that are going to happen. So let's thank Brandon one more time. Thank you. Okay, Leanne, you got the goodie basket?
Do it.
So I hope, I'm going back to the beginning where I started. I hope that you got some information on your sheet. And just put it up here. Is there anyone that didn't get a blue ticket? Because we're going to give this stuff away. Everybody has a blue ticket. Don't wait till I put my hand in the basket and say, me. Okay. So before I draw out all the winners, I have to do the due diligence of what's coming up, right? I think I mentioned earlier, we've started the CollabX group for NAWBO members that are in business 5 years or less. If you're not getting those emails, please let Leanne know. We don't want to miss anyone. And just because your business is not 5 years or less doesn't mean we might not invite you to have conversation, because we need for our members to be able to grow and develop. So I'm working with Regina Sloan from membership. So we may reach out to you and say, please come share your journey, because as Brandon said, sometimes you want to hear from people who know what it is that you're experiencing. Then we have, I'm looking for my list again, okay. The holiday luncheon, somebody told me Mrs. Claus was gonna be there, but I don't know if that's true. The holiday luncheon is December 11th. It has been in the newsletter. Registration is open. It will be a holiday experience just for you. And I don't know if you filled up the people, but there was a call for, we want really lots of different ways for you to be able to celebrate you and feel good and learn. And so there are gonna be 10, I think, vendor opportunities for businesses that fit into that. So if you're interested, make sure that you email Leanne, and when they're gone, because we only have so much space in the place. But just providing the opportunity for us as NAWBO members to share what we do. Tammy's mantra, think NAWBO first, right? So, but you can't think NAWBO first if you don't know what we do. Tell people what you do, right? And so that's December the 11th. And then January 29th will be our 21st annual Visionary Awards luncheon, which is is downtown, like it always is at the IRT. But there should be a call out there for nominating people. So if you haven't seen that in the newsletter, please look for that so that we can recognize women who are doing amazing, amazing things. So here's my last charge to you. Don't leave here without somebody that you're going to connect with. And I mean that. Don't just have written it down on a piece of paper. Get out your phone and schedule an appointment. Coffee, connect somehow. Don't leave here without a connect. Because you know what we do? We take a bunch of business cards and we write down some stuff, and then we get back to wherever it is we work from and go, what was this? Who was that? Right? And we miss those opportunities to connect. Everybody up here talked about the importance of relationships. Businesses build from relationships. So don't leave here without a relationship, right? And you've had a blessing of strategies. If you're like me, you want to do them all, stop that. Stop that. Pick something that really is your why. I think that was the hardest thing for me as a new entrepreneur, especially when you want to build revenue. You take a really broad, I love when Sonny says, let's go deep and not broad. Be deep with what is your why and find a strategy that's going to move you forward. So did I leave anything out, Leanne? I got all the dates. And if you're a NAWBO member and you're not on a committee, think about that. That's a great relationship piece. Oh, yeah, the social action.
Yeah, so can everybody hear me okay?
That's December 9.
December 9th, we're calling it a family meeting, and we're asking everybody in our organization to come together. We'll talk about
All the issues.
All the issues that are happening right now that are impacting us as business owners in our communities. And this gives us the ability to really build a body of work so that when we do have events like Day at the State House.
Right, which is February, Day at the State House is February.
That we will have a body of work that we can take to these individuals that will be there.
That people need to hear from you, right? And I think we got a special email for that. That wasn't in the newsletter. So if you're a NAWBO member, you should have gotten an email that had that information. So make sure you look for that. I'm sorry, did you have a question?
Is that just for
I think, is it internal on the 9th? Yeah, I think it is. But December 11th, yeah, we have an advocacy committee that would love to hear from you, because that's the thing about NAWBO. Even though we are NAWBO-Indianapolis, we represent all the women in the state of Indiana. And we can't do that if we don't hear from women who are not necessarily NAWBO members. So we have an advocacy committee. You can always reach out to them, both for information and to share concerns, so that when we are at the State House or at the city, or when we're on the Hill in June, NAWBO National, we meet on the Hill in June, every June. So we try to make sure we take in information that are going to help women business owners. Certainly we focus on Indiana, but NAWBO focuses on what is best to support women. Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead. Oh, see, Leanne, she will help you. She will help you. And Shonda Sparks is our president-elect and chair of the membership committee, so she will also be happy to help you. Anything else? How many of these do I pull out? 8. Ooh.
That's a lot.
Let's go.
It's ready to win something.
Okay, first up is retail therapy. Is it $50? $25. Shake it up. 224-864.
Ooh.
Oh, Victoria. Amazon gift card. They sent me another Christmas catalog. You get a heart. You know you have been misbehaved. My son was like, do not send another thing here for this grandbaby. Okay, Amazon, 224853. 224853. Going once. Going twice. We miss you. 224852. Oh! I'm gonna shake this up some more. Okay, what's next? Cheers to you. 224-860. All right. Home sweet home. Oh, Macy's is on here. Okay, stay away from that. All right. Try not to put any stuff on that credit card before the holidays. 224883.
That's me. Yay!
So we mentioned the December luncheon, and so we have a complimentary ticket to the December luncheon. We have 2 of those. And then we also mentioned the visionary luncheon, so we have a complimentary ticket to the visionary luncheon. So for December, the first one is 224871. And the second one, 224855. Oh, Leslie.
I told you.
And then our visionary luncheon tickets. I hate that I'm gonna miss that, but I'm gonna miss it because I have a leadership meeting in Puerto Rico. But someone must do it.
Someone must.
Okay, first one, 224908. And then our last prize for the day that's not you. 224872. 872. 872 going once. Oh, we found it. So I want to thank you once again for starting your day with us. I hope that it will become a productive day. If we can ever do anything for you at NAWBO-Indy, please don't hesitate to reach out. Be blessed. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.
Super fun, guys. It's good to see you too. You and the kids have a good holiday. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I hope it went through.
Well, not to January, but when I'm out of the country, like, well, I still try. Things going okay?
I
It's our way of
Listen, I love it. No, I love the two of y'all. This right here, this dynamic duo right here. Listen, the way that y'all connect people, doing God's work, I appreciate it. It is. It's great. I absolutely.
Okay, yeah, please. Thank you. 317-855-8660. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, yeah, I got it. Good, good. Oh, you have an out-of-state number. You have an out-of-state number? Yeah. Oh, I see.
I mean, just the challenge is like the administration doesn't want to spend money, and so I'm trying to analyze it. What is that thesis, where you want to go, so that you can really impact it. It's not a perfect process, but so much to see evolve digital. How do I narrow it?
Did you enjoy your time here?
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.